So what's this I'm hearing about Fujifilm? Okay, so they've announced some new cameras, complaints about recycled technology, higher prices, lack of inventory, worries about shrinking market share potentially, and the threat of leaving the system. Unfortunately, most enthusiasts and photographers misunderstand Fujifilm. Let's talk about it. To understand Fujifilm, we have to look at recent history. The outgoing CEO, SHIGETAKA KOMORI, overcame the film crisis by diversifying Fujifilm's business portfolio. In fact, he was so successful that there were some worries that his successor, TEIICHI GOTO, would close the camera division completely. Instead, the new CEO said that photography was a significant part of Fujifilm's legacy and a contribution to society. He stated that the company wouldn't abandon the photography business because cameras were a part of Fujifilm's culture and legacy. But healthcare and semiconductor materials would be the future earnings driver. And it's true, if you take a look at Fujifilm's public financial data, you'll find that photography and imaging take up just a tiny fraction of Fujifilm's revenues and profits. And from the photography and imaging division, you'll find that the X series and GFX cameras don't account for most of the revenue and profits that comes from Instax, but they do account for most of the R&D cost. So you can see from a corporate standpoint, the photography and imaging division at Fujifilm isn't looked at for a source of major growth or revenue. It's strictly there as a heritage brand, a legacy to the company itself. If you look at the interviews at the group that created the original X Pro 1, you'll see that they're all passionate photographers and they wanted to create something that they would use and they felt that other photographers would appreciate and use. In fact, the success and kind of wild popularity of Fujifilm, I think, has come as something of a surprise to them. And it's a pleasant surprise, but it hasn't really changed the strategy of Fujifilm itself. So now you see why Fujifilm probably recycles so much of its tech and stretches things out for as long as it possibly can. Compared to most of its competitors, it simply doesn't have the same budget as its rivals. As to low inventory availability and rising prices, unfortunately, that part I do think comes down to pride. The current CEO is on record as saying that he appreciates the Leica model. He likes that they have low inventory and maintain premium prices. I don't think many people within the photography and imaging division agree with the CEO, but if that's what the CEO mandates, then that's what's going to happen. And again, the low inventory isn't artificial. I just don't think they've allocated more resources to having more inventory or manufacturing more than what they make. In a way, the disgruntlement with Fujifilm is a product of their own success. I don't think modern digital Fujifilm cameras were ever thought or meant to be this successful, and that they've just kind of rolled with this success, but now they've become a victim of their own success. Because, of course, as things become more popular and more in demand, our expectations and our wants for what that brand delivers increases. But at Fujifilm corporate, I don't think how they view the imaging division has changed much at all. Again, as long as it doesn't dip into the red, I think they're totally fine with the way it is. And that's why I think most people on the internet, hobbyists, enthusiasts, and YouTubers misunderstand Fujifilm. All the things that we gripe about are all valid criticisms, but I don't think that's going to change how Fujifilm does business. Because again, it's not a primary driver of their company. It doesn't affect the stock price. It's simply there as a prestige brand now, a legacy to their history. If it were to close shop tomorrow, I don't think it would affect Fujifilm, the corporation, all that much.